Ladies and gentlemen, I am now delighted to introduce a prominent political figure and humanitarian who has inspired the world with her remarkable journey marked by courage and resilience. She has been a beacon of hope for many and has stood with President-elect Maryam Rajavi and the cause of freedom in Iran for many, many years. Let us welcome the former Colombian senator and presidential candidate, Ingrid Betancourt. A very warm welcome.
اینگرید بتانکور، کاندیدای پیشین ریاست جمهوری کلمبیا. سیاست مماشات نتیجه روایت‌هایی است که توسط شبکه‌های نفوذی راه اندازی شده و به وسیله وزارت اطلاعات رژیم ایران ترویج می‌شود تا دولت‌های ما را گمراه و دموکراسی‌های ما را ناکارآمد کنند. چندی پیش ما فرانسوی‌ها با تعجب و باید بگویم با خشم مقاله‌ای در لوموند خواندیم که به نظر می‌رسید نویسنده آنچه که سران سپاه پاسداران دیکته کرده بودند را نوشته است. تمام دروغ‌ها و افتراهایی که رژیم ایران سالها در شبکه‌های اجتماعی منتشر کرده بود توسط لوموند سرجم شده بود. کارزار دروغ پراکنی رژیم نشان می‌دهد که ما در حال پیروز شدن هستیم، زیرا این امر مانع از حضور هیچ کس در اینجا نشد. مقاومت ایران همچنان قوی است. این تنها سازمانی است که میتواند رژیم را سرنگون کند و تنها سازمانی در ایران است که میتواند کار مداوم و سابقه بی‌نقص دفاع از حقوق بشر را ارائه بدهد که قابل تخریب یا پاک شدن نیست. در مبارزه علیه نابرابری جنسیتی و سیاست‌های زن‌ستیز رژیم موفق بوده است. امروز در هر گوشه‌ای از ایران صدای مردم را می‌شنوید که می‌گویند زن، مقاومت، آزادی. کانون‌های شورشی مجاهدین خلق در سراسر کشور گسترش یافتند. آنها هزاران جوان از زن و مرد را بسیج کرده‌اند تا به استبداد پایان دهند.
Thank you. Merci, chère Myriam, de nous avoir réunis ici à Paris, de nous mettre en relation avec tous ces Iraniens extraordinaires qui luttent pour leur liberté en Iran, de nous permettre d'avoir aussi un dialogue avec ceux qui sont en ce moment avec les drapeaux bien hauts en Allemagne, et aussi à tous nos amis si extraordinaires, héroïnes et héros, que nous voyons ici assis et qui nous accompagnent depuis Tirana, depuis Ashraf. Je vous remercie, Myriam, parce que c'est vrai qu'il est émouvant, je pense, pour tous ceux qui vous accompagnent depuis des années, de voir comment ce groupe qui vous appuie, ce groupe de personnes de tous les continents, de toutes les nationalités, grandit avec des figures toujours plus surprenantes, plus inspirantes. Je dois aussi mentionner avec regret l'absence de notre ami Joe Lieberman, mais je le fais aussi avec une pointe de bonheur parce que je suis sûre qu'il serait très heureux de voir comment nous avançons et comment nous réussissons peu à peu à faire que cette cause, qui est aussi notre rêve, devienne une réalité. J'ai été très longtemps dans le tunnel sans lumière et je crois que j'arrive à voir la lumière quand elle pointe au fond du tunnel, et je la vois en ce moment, et je voudrais partager avec vous un certain optimisme. Quand les choses vont mal, quand elles vont très très mal, en général c'est le moment où les choses vont commencer à changer. Et ce que je vois dans le monde, je sais que notre ami américain, le général James Jones, expliquait avec raison que nous sommes dans un moment où les démocraties se battent contre les autocraties. Nous avons mentionné évidemment l'Iran qui vient de cuire une défaite vraiment importante hier, avec des élections où la population iranienne n'a pas voulu se rendre présente. Elle a refusé de jouer le jeu d'une farce démocratique. Et de par ce biais, elle a dit haut et clair que le chemin de ceux qui pensent qu'il faut pactiser avec le régime dictatorial de l'Iran n'est pas la volonté des Iraniens. Myriam, vous avez l'intelligence, mais vous avez aussi le cœur nécessaire pour que l'histoire change. Et je sais que les prochaines années et ce changement qui vient est celui des femmes. Je crois que ce changement qui est celui de ce tremblement historique que nous vivons, causé par, je crois, l'agonie de ces dictatures, est très important de le suivre en Iran. I think that the Iranian regime is one of those monsters, political monsters, in the verge of extinction. And I think that if we are here gathered today, is because we know it. We know they come to an end. And we want to say with our brain, but also with our heart, with our emotions, we want to support, we want to help, but we want also to commit to all the Iranian women and Iranian men who didn't go to the polls yesterday in protest against the regime, those freedom fighters that are the reason why we are gathered here today. And if we are here, it's not only because we believe in them, but we do. It's also because we know that their fate is our fate. That our fate is linked to what happens in Iran. The end of terrorism that strikes here in Europe, in the States, wherever in the world they want to strike. We have seen it. And finally, world peace. The assurance of world peace depends on your victory and the victory of all the freedom fighters in Iran. We have heard a lot today the word appeasement, and it seems to be a cursed word. But what we have not to forget is that this appeasement policy is the result of a narrative that has been pushed by infiltration networks set up by the Iranian intelligence services in order to manipulate our governments and neutralize our democracies, and above all, to avoid any attempt we can try to do in order to prevent the Iranian dictatorship to acquire the nuclear bomb. That is what appeasement is all about. They are buying time. And they have not only succeeded in buying time, but they have also succeeded in preventing our government from officially supporting the Iranian opposition. But the fact is that today there is a consensus among the freedom and human rights activists all over the world that we need to have international support if we want change. And we want change. That's why the Iranian regime has deployed an aggressive strategy to disseminate false allegations against the National Council of Resistance of Iran, against the MEK, against Iranian freedom fighters, to the point that some weeks ago, we French people here had the surprise, and I have to say the indignation, to read in the most important newspaper in France, Le Monde, an article that was written as if the journalist had been under dictation, under the command of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. All the lies, all the calumnies that the Iranian regime has been spreading for years in the social media were summarized by Le Monde. So the campaign is aggressive, but it shows also that we're winning, because it didn't deter anyone to be here today. And it is important, I think, to try to understand why they take so much effort to try to prevent our support to Miriam and to the MEK and to the resistance. Why? And I think that first, it's because if we succeed in obtaining the official support of governments all around the world to the MEK, it's just a message as powerful as a nuclear bomb. And it comprises in only 2 words: game over. The game is over. The game is over because Miriam has succeeded in bringing hope to Iranian people. And hope among leaders in a dictatorship regime is what they fear the most, because that's what brings them down. And also, one other reason is that the support we give to the resistance is the evidence of the sheer failure of the regime, because it means that the money they have spent, the years they have spent in their killing attempts, in their terrorist attacks, in their disinformation and slandering campaigns, in their infiltration strategies, in bribing officials and corrupting journalists, have failed. They have failed because the resistance is as strong as ever. It is the major contender, and it's the only one that can overthrow the regime. It is the only organization in Iran that can show a consistent work and impeccable track record of human rights defense that cannot be demolished or erased. It has also, the resistance, deployed significant efforts recognized by everyone to expose the regime's nuclear plots and tricks. And it has worked hard to bring, as Michael Mukasey reminded us when he spoke, to bring perpetrators of tortures and mass killings before the international justice. So the regime has utterly failed. The MEK resistance units that we saw have been spreading all over the country. They are stronger as ever, and they have mobilized thousands of young people, women, men, families, entire families, to put an end to the tyranny. The resistance has also fought against gender inequality and against the misogynistic policies, and I think they have been successful in doing so, because today, in every corner of Iran, you hear people chanting, women, resistance, freedom. They have failed. They have failed because today, the support, the international support is immense. In France, just in France, the majority of the Congress signed a petition supporting the 10 points of Miriam Rajavi. The same happened in the States. More than 230 bipartisan members of the US Congress. More than 500 cross-party members in the UK Parliament. Numerous Nobel laureates. More than 4,000 parliamentary all over the world. More than 125 former world leaders have committed to support the Iranian resistance. And this is not a coincidence. We all know that as we speak, there is no action more important in the world to preserve our democracies, to preserve our values, to preserve our right to freedom, than to unite all around the world for the liberation of the Iranian people. That's the Iranian theocracy, the dictatorship in Iran, is our biggest enemy. Their fight, the fight of the Iranian people, is our fight. They are unstoppable. They will obtain freedom. And we will go all the way, hand in hand with them, until the end. Because with them, we demand free Iran forever.